All right. So, welcome everybody. So for my part of today, we're gonna focus more on shoulders because I don't know about you, but I've been sitting a lot more than typical, and my shoulders are definitely sadder about that experience. So we're going to give them a nice, good warm up, get them moving again, and then these are all exercises that you can do whenever your shoulders feel a little bit sad about sitting down all the time. So we're going to start standing. And so we're going to have our arms straight out from our shoulders. Thinking about keeping your shoulders down away from your ears. And you're going to make a fist with your hands. And we're going to rotate our wrists without moving our arms too much. So try not to bend our elbows or anything. We're just spinning our wrists. We're really thinking about when our fists are facing down to the ground, that we're pulling them in, warming up our forearms. All right, now switch direction. Still doing that pulling in, trying to warm up your forearms. All right, now take flat hands, and we're going to keep our arms straight, but we're going to push our hands down towards the ground. So you're really thinking about keeping your arms straight, your shoulders away from your ears. And you can also find different support parts of your body when your arms start to get tired. You might notice them starting to sink down a little bit. So maybe tuck in your core a little bit, try to find support there. Now we're going to flip our palms up towards the ceiling and push our hands up. Still thinking about keeping our shoulders away from our ears, our arms nice and straight. Find different supports. Maybe your shoulder blades can be pushed more together to give support back there. And now our hands are going to push towards the front. Still thinking about keeping a nice straight line with your arms so your hands aren't coming out towards you like this. They're still staying in parallel with your body. And then thumbs towards the ground and pushing back behind you. All right, awesome guys. Okay, hopefully you feel that a little bit. Now find a nice space on your wall. I can see some great walls around some of you. We're going to do some nerve glides to just make our shoulders feel a little bit happier about their lives. So you're going to find a space on the wall. You're going to face the wall and put your hand on it with your fingers facing down about shoulder height. And then you're going to turn away so that your arm's coming out at about a 90, and you're going to tip your head towards your arm. And we're going to repeat that motion. So you turn back facing your hand towards the wall, and then you turn away, tipping your head towards your arm. We're going to do that about 10 times on each arm. So when you're finished, you can sit in front of your camera if you have your camera on, so that I can know that you're done. And if you're really not feeling anything from this, you can try to keep your whole hand on the wall. So try not to have your palm come away from the wall. And you can also play around with not bending your head. So keeping your head straight up. And then try your other arm. Now I can't see the webcam. Looking great, guys. Your nerves are going to be so happy. Amy, you look so happy with that one. All right. So we're going to go back to our wall again. The beginning warm-up of all the shoulder stuff is all pretty wall-based. So we're going to have our both hands on the wall this time, about shoulder height on the wall. We're going to bend forward. When you breathe in, you're going to push into the wall. And when you breathe out, you're going to let your body sink down between your arms. So you're going to breathe in, push, 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 and then breathe out, and you're going to sink down between your shoulders. And so we'll do 3 nice breaths of that 2 times over. So nice getting to your back of your shoulders. All right. Now, this next one is a little bit on the fun side. So we're actually going to do the same sort of position, but back on. So your hands might be really far apart. They might come closer together, but we're going to place one hand, turn around the other way, and place our other hand. And then you're going to try to sit down a little bit. So you're bending your knees and sinking your bum back, and then standing again. And we'll do this about 3 or 4 times. All right, there's one left with the wall. And then we're going to move away from the wall completely and go to our mats or the floor. All right. So if you've done a class with me, you'll remember this one. You are placing your shoulder against the wall and having your elbow bent at about 90 degrees and turning away from your arm. Face this way. And then you're lifting your wrist and your elbow off the wall. Like this. So you want to face away from your elbow and your shoulder, and you want to lift off the wall. You might only get about an inch maybe or so, but it's building that active flexibility in your shoulders. And we want to do about 10 on each arm. Here. Looking great, guys. Awesome. All right, if you have water, now's a great time to get some water if you need it. All right, so now we are moving to the floor. Okay, so the next exercise, we're going to be in a high child's pose. So what that is you're in your regular child's pose position, but instead of sinking all the way down like this, we're actually going to keep our arms at about a 45-degree angle. So our ribs can still touch our thighs, but we're kind of pressed up a little bit. Now we want to make sure we have that rib to thigh connection here, because we're going to use that going forward. We're going to lift one hand up, bring it around, and then bring it back up again. But you want to make sure you're keeping that connection between your ribs and your thighs. So we'll do 10 on each arm. And you're really thinking about when you lift up your hand first, you're reaching forward so you get that full extension in your arm. So you reach up and forward, back and down, making sure that we have that connection to our ribs and our thighs. So we're not spinning open to get that mobility. Awesome, guys. And then whenever you're done, you can come sit in front of the webcam again. Awesome. Okay, so next we're going to do some more floor stuff that's more about strength building rather than mobility. So the first ones are a good classic, the Mark 10s. So we're going to lie flat on our stomachs on the ground, reaching our hands forward with our face down towards the ground. And our first step is lifting our head up, but keeping the back of our necks nice and long. So making sure we're still looking down at the ground. And then lifting your arms and pulling them back. Keeping that nice tension into a 90-degree shape, and then bringing them forward again and lowering down. So we're going to do about 10 of these. You're lifting your head up, lifting your arms, and pulling your arms back to about 90, and then bringing them forward again and lowering down. When you bring your arms back, try to see if you can lift up even higher. So if you can work on your active flexibility that way too. And don't forget to breathe. It's always a great time. All right. Okay, now we're going to go back into that high child's pose that we did again. So our arms at a nice 45. We're going to do cat-cows from here, but we're trying to keep our head in the one spot. So instead of tucking our heads right into our chest, we're going to try to look forward the entire time. So we're really getting into our shoulders. So when we arch our back, we're pushing into the ground to get our shoulders involved, and then we're really rounding in and doing almost like an angry cat pose. So your back is really flaring up, but your head is still looking forward. And we'll do about 10 of these as well. Okay. That's great, Linda. Alrighty. So the next one is another nice movement. So you're lying down, or no, sorry, you're in tabletop. I lied. And you're bringing one arm up and bring it right underneath, but we're not actually staying in that position. So we're going to keep moving, bring it back up again, and under. And we'll do that 10 times on each arm. Awesome. Great, guys. All right. And now the last thing we're going to find a plank pose, but instead of it being the traditional straight line plank, it's more of a core activation plank. So you go into your plank pose and you're really pushing up in your hands through your shoulders. So see how my back is really rounding out, so this like angry cat kind of shape. And then I want to keep that core connection, so my knees are going to be slightly bent to make sure that my core is involved. So from here, I'm going to do shoulder shrugs. So I'm going to not move my elbows, but lower myself down and push up again in my shoulders. So I'm not bending my elbows at all. This is all in my shoulders. Awesome. And then we'll find that position again. And we're going to rock forwards and backwards. Still getting that angry cat kind of shape where we're pushing into our shoulders. The only thing moving is our ankles and our wrists. So we're trying to keep that stable position. Looks great, guys. Nice. So it's a little bit of sneaky wrists in with your shoulders. But you know, both parts of your body are good. All right. So I'm going to pass the torch over to Olivia, and she's going to lead us in some other cool stuff.
You're going to grab some kind of small pillow or like either couch cushion or a stuffed animal, anything like that that you have around. And after we're going to stretch our backs a bit, but I find that stretching your back always feels best after doing some ab exercises. So I'm already feeling it a bit there from Sarah, but we're going to do another ab exercise. So you're going to take your pillow or stuffed animal or whatever you choose. You're going to squeeze it between your legs like this and lie down on your back. And then you're going to reach up and grab the pillow into your hands and lie down. You're going to pass it back and forth. We're going to do that, try to go for 20 times. If you need to take a little break in between, you can. If not, then great. So. Okay, looks like most people are done there. Once you've tried for 20, I feel like you're all gonna hate me for this, but like every time you've like worked your abs super hard, you can always do a little bit more. It's gonna make you try to do 5 more, like really, really good ones, because usually probably by the end of your 20, they started to get sloppier. So try to do 5 super clean ones now. Awesome, and then you can grab some water when you're done that. Okay, now we're just gonna start to warm up our backs. I hope we can see there. We're gonna go into like a prayer position. So you're gonna lie on your belly and put your hands together and then flat down on the ground like this. And then try to squeeze your feet together so your whole forearm is flat on the ground here. And squeeze your feet together and you're gonna look backwards. You should feel that in your upper back. Good, and then you can put your hands flat on the ground and slowly push yourself up to a full seal stretch. And twist one way. And the other. Good, and then if you can touch your toes to your head, I cannot, but now's your time to shine. Good. What's next? Okay, so now you're gonna grab your chair that you hopefully have handy somewhere. Put it in front. Give everyone a second to gather their chairs. Next. Okay, and then we're going to put our forearms on like the seat of the chair and then bring your feet back. So I'm kind of like kneeling at a 45-degree angle almost. And then I'm gonna relax my hips all the way down to arch. Good. Okay, and hopefully your backs are pretty warm. You're gonna grab your pillow again. And we're gonna kneel facing away from the chair like this. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna, give everyone a second to get their pillow and chair situated. Good. So you're gonna take your pillow and you're gonna end up, I'll show it first, you're gonna arch back to lay your pillow down and come up, and then arch back to pick it up. Like so. So we're gonna lay it down and pick it up 10 sets. Okay, and then like last time, I'm going to make you do 3 more nice and clean ones. I know you all love me right now. Spilt my water, all good. Get that bendy back, Jordan. Okay. Looks like everyone's done that one. So you're gonna take your chair and I'm gonna put it sideways, and we're basically gonna do kind of like a bridge over top of the chair. So move my out of the way. You can kind of just sit on the chair and then sink your bum off the chair and arch backwards and over. And try to keep your feet squeezed together and your legs straight. And then try to, in that position, try to pulse your shoulders down to the ground 10 times. Good, come on up. Let the blood get back to your head for a second. You can grab another sip of water if you need. Not me, because I just spilled my water, but it's all right. Okay, once you had your water, you can just roll your wrists out for a second to warm them up. Mine are cracking every time. I don't know if you guys can hear that. And shake them. And flex one hand forward and pull it back. And switch. And then make a fist and pull it in. And switch. Okay, now our shoulders are already quite warm from Sarah, but just one more quick little shoulder stretch. You're gonna put your hands on the chair and you're kneeling here and you're gonna sink your head down to the ground. And if you feel like you don't feel it enough, you can kneel like up higher and stick your bum up. Okay, good. So now that our backs and shoulders and wrists are all warm, we're gonna go into your choice of a bridge or a tabletop on the ground. So if you know how to do a bridge, I'm sure you know what it is. If you're not used to doing too many back stretches, you can just do a tabletop. So lay your hands just normally behind you and lift your hips up to the ceiling. But if you can do a bridge, please do so. So we can lie down and push up to your bridge or tabletop in 3, 2, 1. So this first one, just think about lifting your hips up as high as possible to the ceiling. Your knees can be bent. Walk your feet in as close as you can. And come on down, roll your back out. Good, and now we're gonna do a second one. If you were doing a bridge, this time you're gonna try to keep your legs together and straight. So you should feel it arching more like in your shoulders and your upper back. Like so. Push yourself up and walk your feet together and straighten those legs. So you can go ahead whenever you're ready. And come on down. Roll your back out again. Very nice. Okay, now we're gonna switch gears over and do a little bit of hamstring and leg stretches with the chair. So grab your chair again, and you're gonna stand up. You can still, you can't see my face, you can see my legs. That's the important thing here. So you're gonna take your least favorite leg and lift it up onto the lower portion, the seated part of the chair. And so my hamstrings are not very flexible, so I already can kind of feel a stretch here. If you feel absolutely nothing here, then you can try to kind of twist yourself into it. So your leg is basically coming across your body like that. So bring that leg on front, and you're gonna point your toe as hard as you can, and then you're gonna actively push that heel down into the chair. So like as if I've done this in class sometimes where a partner's holding you, and it should be hard for that partner to hold you up. So push as hard as you can down to that chair, and you should feel the stretch. We're gonna push for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're gonna take that same leg and you're gonna flex it up as hard as you can. Hopefully everyone feels it now. My hamstring is already burning. So you're gonna flex those toes back. Try to actively think of pulling your toes all the way back to your hips, and then push your heel down again for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now, if your chair allows for it, you're gonna lift your leg up onto the higher part of the chair here. So obviously careful, try not to damage any backs of chairs in this. If you can lay your foot up there, you're going to, and then point that toe again as hard as you can, and push it down to the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, make sure your hips are super square, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then flex that foot as hard as you can, pull those toes back. Now I guess you're kind of thinking of pulling your toes back towards your head, and push down to the ground for 10, 9, and make sure this back knee here is also super straight. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now you're gonna take that leg and try to pull it across your body. You can use your chair for some support if you need. My foot is shaking. Pull it across your body, and then shake it down to the ground. You can hold on to the back of your chair and just swing it. Good. Hopefully that leg is not buzzing too much anymore. And then we're going to switch legs. So bring your chair back. Leg. Hopefully you started with your bad leg. Now you can enjoy your good leg. Lay your good leg on top, hips super square. Especially with your good leg now, if you're not feeling it, you can kind of twist yourself so your legs going across your body more. And point that toe as hard as you can and push it down to the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then flex that foot, pull the toes up as a string here, pulling your toes all the way back, and then at the same time, push that heel down into the chair as hard as you can for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then lift it up to the higher part of the chair. You're going to make sure that bottom knee is completely locked out straight and the bottom heel is staying on the ground too. And then point your toe as hard as you can and push it down to the ground for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and flex it as hard as you can. I just lost my balance. And push it down for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you grab the chair for balance your knee and pull your leg across. Good. And then you can turn that chair around and swing out. Good. Okay, now we're going to do my personal favorite pike stretch. Just kidding, I hate pike. But this is actually my favorite way to stretch my pike. So I'm gonna get my chair out of the way so you can do this. You're gonna lie down, and what you do is you're gonna reach forward in your pike and then roll back almost to like a candlestick position. So my arms are around my ears, and I lift my hips up to the ceiling, and then try to bring my feet down over my head. and then you reach forward, and then touch your feet on the ground. So I'm kind of doing like a pike upside down, then a pike normally. So let's do 10 sets of those. Good, and then as always, I'm gonna make you do 3 more super clean ones. This time, like I saw some of you on your last, your knees were bending and stuff, so try to make these last 3 super clean, keep those knees completely straight, arms really tight against your shoulders, and push that pike as hard as you can. Good. And then hopefully your hamstrings are nice and warm. So you're gonna reach up super tall and do a normal pike stretch all the way forward. Try to take a deep breath in and make yourself a little bit lower as you exhale. And in and exhale. Good, and then you're gonna flex your feet as hard as you can. And this time, instead of reaching forward as far as you can, just keep your back like arched. You don't wanna ground your back at all, and just reach as far as you can with a completely like straight or slightly arched back, which for me is not very far, but I'm feeling it. My leg is like shaking. Good, and you can shake your legs out. Okay, I will not make you do full splits if you don't want to, but really quick, finish off, you're just gonna go into your pigeon stretch on your least favorite leg first. And then you can incorporate those back stretches we did an arch back if you would like. Good, and switch legs. Arch. Oh my gosh, you guys have such flexible backs. Look at Maggie and Charlotte and Jordan. Good. All right, you can shake everything out. Give yourself a hug in. I always like to at the end twist side to side. That's my favorite thing to finish with. Oh. All right, that's all. Good job, guys.